The Ancient Magus Bride is a fascinating anime with Celtic influences that follows a young girl named Chise, who at first is in a very dark and very disheartening place, but her world is turned upside down as she meets a very interesting individual. What makes this fantastical anime even more interesting to us here at Geek Devotions is it does a fantastic job of paralleling some very real reasons that we do what we do here at Geek Devotions. So we're going to talk about that today. Hello, Devoted Geeks, and welcome to Geek Devotions, a show from Devoted Geeks, who are devoted to letting you know that you're loved. I'm Dallas. I'm so glad that you've hit the play button today. If you're new to our show, we take geek, pop culture items like movies, video games, comic books, and we use them to let people know love. So if you don't watch past this moment, know this: we love you, we care about you. There is a plan and a purpose for your life. Do not give up. For the last 7 years, this has been our intro to the show of Geek Devotions. We are devoted to letting people know that they're loved, and we're telling people that there is a plan and purpose for lives and not to give up. And there's good reasons for us sharing this message with you, the listener who's watching this episode. And this anime does a really great job of paralleling many of those reasonings. It follows this young girl named Chise, who really, like I said, is in a very dark place. As the series plays out, you discover more about her life and the darkness that she lived in. She felt abandoned. She had suffered fantastic loss that was heartbreaking and just shattering her mind in many, many ways. She felt alone, abandoned. She got to the point where she felt like there was nothing left for her, and she was willing just to offer herself to anybody. This young lady was what we would call broken. And in the world, there are many people who are in the same situation where you feel just broken. You feel abandoned. You feel like nobody cares. And many people who are dealing with these emotions, they find themselves in a place where they will simply offer themselves to whoever is willing to take them. And that's not always a good thing. In this show, it starts off with her literally being sold at an auction. And there are people who are looking at her and they have their own plans and ideas for her. Until one individual shows up. There's a very ancient mage named Elias Ainsworth who shows up. And he pays a hefty, hefty cost for her. $5 million. Shuts the auction down. He says, no, there's something precious about this young lady. And he takes her with her. And on the surface, it looks like at first it's just another one of these deals that's taking place. But he put a high value on her. And in her mind, she's just going to be a slave. Just another tool to be used by people. Abandoned. But he does something interesting. His plan is not just to use her as a tool. In fact, he removes the chains of bondage that are around her neck. He frees her and says, I'm here to make you my apprentice. Later, he even says that he's there to make her his bride. Something precious, something beautiful in many ways. This is a fantastic illustration of what we do here at Geek Devotions, the reason that we do here. Because we see so many people who are hurting and going through terrible life situations, lost in the world, wondering if anybody cares, not knowing that there's somebody that has a higher value, sees them as something so absolutely wonderfully precious, somebody who wants to give them purpose, who sees something inside of them that they don't even see, and to call it out and let it blossom into something beautiful. I'm speaking of Jesus Christ. I'm speaking of God. Now, obviously, this isn't a one-for-one illustration from this anime. Again, this anime deals with a lot of Celtic influences, stuff like that. But the way that Ainsworth, Elias, takes care of Chise, the way that he cares for her, it is a very strong reminiscence of the way that God sees us. In the high value and the high price that he paid so that you can have true freedom. So those who are hurting, who are going and suffering through tremendous things, can have real hope and joy restored inside of them. Now, admittedly, I'm only 4 episodes into this series. I don't know what's going to happen down the road, but what I have seen is this. I've seen a person come in and see a young person who is hurting, who's going through some stuff, and he goes, I'm going to pay a high price. I'm going to redeem them. I'm going to restore them. I'm going to help them get past terrible mindsets that are holding them down, help them become what they really can be. And that's what God has done. See, God looked out upon the earth and he sees us, a fallen creation. He sees what we're suffering. He sees what you're going through. And he's offered a way for you to have hope and to be redeemed and to be restored. And that's through his son, Jesus. See, we live in a fallen world. Man lives in brokenness by our own fault. We've caused this sin to take place in our lives. And as a result, living in a fallen world, terrible things happen. And there's so much hopelessness. There's so much brokenness. And God says, I have a plan to redeem and to restore you. But you see, there's a hefty cost of this sin nature, and that is death. There is a punishment, there's a wrath, because God is just. He has to judge these things. But he made a plan well before the foundation. He wasn't taken by surprise. He knew the fallen nature of man would take place. So he sent his very own son, Jesus, to live as man, to suffer as man, to die in our place, to take our punishment, and then to be resurrected 3 days later, so that you and I and everyone in the world has the opportunity to know God as Father and to have true hope, to have true peace, to have true joy. It doesn't mean that things are removed. It doesn't mean that all the terrible things that we live in is gone, but it does mean that as we walk through these things, we have the sensibility, the sense of joy and peace that only comes with having a right relationship with God. And it's not an instantaneous thing. The great thing about this aspect, about this anime, is that she's struggling for quite a while. She's dealing with these emotions. Even though Elias has said, look, you're good to go. I'm going to take care of you. There's going to be peace. She's still struggling with old mindsets. She's still struggling with the trauma of her past. And he has grace for that. He's helping her walk that. When you become a Christian, if you are someone who says, Jesus, I want you to forgive me of my sins, and you want to walk this path of being a follower of Jesus, it doesn't mean that instantaneously everything's good to go, that you're just done with all this stuff. There is a time of healing. There is a process you walk out. Sanctification, the process of becoming what we're called to be, it's a process. There's healing that has to take place. And Chise is walking that in these episodes of the series that we're watching here. But what I love, it was a moment that Elias came to her, and he's talking to her about her past, and she's reliving the trauma. She's living these things, and she's looking down. She's starting to, every time she thinks about what her past was like, she's starting to feel like she's less than. He puts his hand on her head, and he says, it doesn't matter what was in the past. It's just a matter what you are now. That is that you're with me. When we are in Christ, it doesn't matter what your past was. It doesn't matter what you did, what you said. It doesn't matter what you suffered through. Those things don't have to rule your life. They don't have to dictate your identity. They don't have to dictate what you will do and what you will say. All that matters is that you are in Christ Jesus. Because when the old man dies, we are born again. We are made new. Yes, that does mean that we have to renew our minds. There is a process of doing that. Learn to think differently. Learn to see the world differently. But we don't let those past things hold us down. We keep moving forward with grace. My encouragement for you guys who are listening, who've made it this far in the video, if you're not a Christian and you're listening to this, and some of you, you're at a point where you're kind of rolling your eyes. You're like, okay, whatever. It's okay. Some of you, this is hitting home. Some of you, you're listening to this and you're realizing this is what you've been looking for. This is the reason why you like this anime series, because it's showing you a world of somebody of being restored and finding hope and finding joy. I'm here to tell you that you can have hope, you can have joy, you can have peace in Jesus the Christ. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect tomorrow in the moment that you do this. But what it does mean is that there is now the start of a process of healing and hope that can take place. And we want you to know that we love you here at Geek Devotions. We care about you tremendously. You are the reason why we do Geek Devotions. Because we got tired of seeing people in the geek community, in anime spaces, and comic spaces, and everything, that we're hurting and suffering, and we're coming to these things. Let's be real. We're coming to anime. We're coming to comics. We're coming to movies because we're trying to escape some of the trauma that we're dealing with in the world, and we're seeing things that we want to associate ourselves with, we want to have. And there's nobody around to help us with that. We are here to say there is hope, there is peace, there is freedom, there is the opportunity for freedom for you today in Jesus Christ. And it starts with you turning to him, with you asking him to forgive you, to restore you. Now, is there more past this? Sure. Yeah, there's a process. It involves you getting involved in a local community of Bible-based believers who hold the authority of the scriptures at the utmost importance of their lives. It's a process of changing the way we think, the way we see the world. But it starts with a decision. We want to know how we can pray with you, how we can encourage you, how we can help you walk this out. Reach out to us, email us. You can reach us through our website. You can reach us through our social media platforms. However it is, we want to show you love and grace. We want to encourage you and help you walk this out. For some of you, you're Christians, you're already walking this out. That's fantastic. My encouragement to you is to make sure you're showing the same level of grace and love that God has shown to you, to those around you. So there is a lost world out there that needs hope, that needs grace, they need freedom. Show the patience and the love and grace that God showed you to them, so that they may know Christ too. To be perfectly honest with you guys, there's a lot that's happening in this anime that we could go down various different routes. And what I'm excited to say is that all month long, you guys know we've been partnering with our friends at Beneath the Tangles. The last 2 weeks have been episodes done by them. They're fantastic episodes. I want to encourage you guys to make sure you check them out. But that being said, they also have a couple articles about this very anime and some encouragement that you can get out of it. And so I'm going to have links in the description down below for you guys to check that out. Our question of the week for you guys is, what's your favorite anime that inspires you? Not because sometimes we just have favorite animes because they're just fun. But what is an anime that truly has inspired you? Leave a comment down below. Let us know. Why? Because I'm always looking for new anime, guys. You know, I love anime here at Geek Devotions. I also want to give a very special thank you to all of our devoted Patreon geeks who support what we do here at Geek Devotions. Thanks to you guys, we're able to do what we do. We're able to have our website where we post out articles and devotions and podcasts, all kinds of stuff. Thanks to you guys, we're able to do Geek Devotions. We're able to let people know the love and they're cared for. Thanks to you, we're able to accomplish this mission. And we appreciate you guys so very much. And if you'd like to become a devoted Patreon geek, check our website, geekdevotions.com. Click on the support page. That being said, I do want to encourage you guys, keep your eyes tuned, keep your ears peeled, because we have some special announcements coming up in the next couple of weeks. We have a major event that we're putting together right now that's going to help Geek Devotions do something really cool, and so just be ready for that. Finally, I do want to invite you guys to check out our website, geekdevotions.com, and all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Just look for Geek Devotions. We're on those platforms, and we're posting up all kinds of crazy stuff all the time. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, stay devoted. Peace and love.